All right, so today I am in my garage here, but I'm going to install this light bar. So Kemimoto sent me this light bar for testing and install, and so far I love it. It's really solid. I haven't turned it on yet, so we're going to find out here pretty soon, but I'm going to install it right here on my Polaris Razor Trail S 1000. So what I've already done is I've already drilled some holes. And before I go on, my name is Pat Lowe. This is P. Lowe's Adventures. I'm often out on adventures, but it's like 105 degrees out today. So if you hear a hum in the background, I have an air conditioning unit that's turned on in my garage. So that's probably, if you hear that, that's what you hear. Anyway, so I'm going to spend the day and I'm going to show you how I install that light bar. And so I'm going to be installing it on this roof here. Now, I've already taken and drilled the holes and put the mounting stuff on. So I'm just going to move you over and kind of show you a little closer what I did. So I took my time, I measured everything, I measured the light bar, and then I drilled the holes in that metal roof. And now I'm ready to put the light bar on. So that's going to be my next step. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten these down, these brackets on top of the roof. Excuse the smiley face hanging ball, but I use that when I pull my truck in, and you get it just in the right spot. So I'll come over here. So I got a 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to tighten this down. Nice and tight. Nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. Let me go over and do the other side. Nice and tight. So just to show you here, those bolts, they kind of stick out down a little bit. So I suppose if you really wanted, you could cut them off. I'm going to leave them for now. So we'll see how it goes from there. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mount the light bar on there. I know it's a little bit dark in here. I've got my best to do the lighting to make sure it's good. So anyway, so when you put this light bar on, it has to go a certain direction, and the instructions will show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I have these bolts pre-ready to go, and I'm going to set it up here, and I'm going to get this first bolt, put it through here. It's got a washer and a lock washer on it, and they're really easy to start the first time. So I'm going to get it in there. I'm not going to go completely tight yet, but I'm just going to let that sit there for a second. I got the other bolt, and I'm going to come around and then put this one in. Now I measured these very carefully because I didn't want to drill a hole and then have it be off. So tolerances on this are pretty good. Of course, I'm having a little bit of a hard time lining this one up, but that's not a fault of the product. That's a fault of me. So I'll tighten those down in a second. But here you got the cable that's going to plug in. Probably I'll reach it around in here, and I'll run it down somewhere inside here down, and I'll show you all that here in a little bit. All right, so I have my little drill here, and I have this set so it's not going to cinch it down crazy tight. Let me put it on one more here. Get that nice and tight, and I'll come over and do the other side. All right, it's nice and solid. Got just a little bit of a downward angle on this, but we'll be able to adjust that at another time. All right, so I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer now. You can see I have a bunch of shavings. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but I got a bunch of shavings in there. That's from drilling those holes, and then I reamed them out so they're nice and clean. I'll clean all that up later. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this, and we're going to start looking at the wiring. I don't know how I'm going to do this yet, so you can see in here, that's a little bit dirty. I guess I need to get this cleaned out, but I have this bus bar here, and that's where I plug in all my accessories. And then I believe this is a hot and a cold, or hot and a ground wire. I'm also going to be going in through the firewall and get in underneath there so I can plug in some of the accessories. So let me show the accessories that I'm talking about here. Not really accessories, but I've got this rocker switch. So that's going to go through the firewall into the dashboard, and I'll show you how I install that. And then I have all of this. This one here connects to the light bar, and then this connects to the battery, or positive and negative, and then this is a relay that just kind of sits off by itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take off some of the stuff on the inside. I'm going to wipe off some of those shavings first of all, but then I'm going to get that dash out. So we'll go from there. Tight quarters, filming starts to get a little bit more difficult. So just bear with me. I'm going to do my best to try to film this so it's nice and good quality filming. So what I need to do is I need to take out this Kemimoto tablet holder. So I realized as I was doing some of this stuff, I have a lot of Kemimoto stuff in here. I've got Kemimoto bag holders. Let me close this and you'll be able to see here. Kemimoto door bags, and those are for knees. I got a tablet holder. I have up here, I have Kemimoto mirrors. And then let me cover up this light. Back here, I've got a Kemimoto little bag. I think Kemimoto, probably can't see it too well, but Kemimoto soundbar. I don't know what it is about Kemimoto, but I just keep buying their stuff. Their stuff is just good. So as long as it's good for me, I'm going to keep using it. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to take out this tablet holder. And this actually comes out pretty easy, although I haven't had it out for a while. I love this tablet holder. It enables me to put a ruggedized tablet on there, and it works out really well. And if you want to look at a video of the tablet holder and the install, I have that on my channel, so go check that out. You do need one of these little tools here to be able to get this back part off. So the angles are a little bit tricky. So I'm going to get in here, pull that one out. Let me get to the other side. I'm probably blocking your view a little bit. Pull the other side out. Boom. See how easy that comes out? So I'm just going to set that aside for now. So I'm going to try to grab the light and the camera at the same time. All right, so you can see what it looks like down in there. So way up there is where these cords and wires come through the firewall, and then they come over here and they hook right up to the dashboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire this, probably I'll put the switch in the dashboard first, and then get that wired into there, and then I'll start running all the other wires. So we'll go from there and see how it goes. So what I have here is the Kemimoto Light Bar switch. So this is just going to go right in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this from the back side. That pops right out. Nice and easy. And then I take the new switch and I'm just going to slide that part in there. And I'm going to deal with tying up those wires a little bit later and get that oriented in the right direction. And that just snaps into place. So that's how we're going to control our light bar. And that's how easy that is to put in. So, and then coming out the other side, You can see right where that is. All right, so I had a little bit of a situation. I have this plug, and I have this wire, and I have this small hole. So this is going to sit up here and plug in to the light bar, and then this is going to run down and go into here. So my option was to take apart this whole plastic cover, which I've done before, but I didn't want to do it again. As you see, I've got all shavings and everything here. I didn't really want to do that again, so what I did was I pulled back this protective cover. I cut those wires, I spliced them, and then I heat shrinked them all together. So after I cut it, I ran the wire up through here, and then I did the heat shrink right here, and then got it nice and put it back together, put a little zip tie here. So now I'll be able to run this wire down through here and have it a little bit more appropriate. So that's what I had to do there. So my next step is going to be inside here, and I'm going to start working on where I'm going to wire this up. So as you see, I have a bus bar here, and looks like all my slots are taken. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to go over here and go off of the main positive and the main negative and hook it directly up to that. This is fused, so I don't need to worry about it. And then once I get that, we'll go from there. You got kind of a weird angle here, but it's hard to get down in there. So I've hooked up my positive and negative. Now I have this piece here, right there, and I need to push that piece through that opening. I think it's going to be a tight fit. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm hoping that I don't have to splice these as well. So we'll see if I can do it. So I got some stuff here. I don't know what that goes to, but all right. So let's make sure that all of my wires are not tangled, because once I put it through there, I don't want to have to take it back out again. So it's hard to fit my hand in there, really. I think I got it started, so I'm going to go to the other side and see if I can pull that through. All right, I don't know how well you can see this, but I was able to pull this through, and I wired it underneath there, and I'm going to plug it right into here. Make sure I'm going the right way to get a nice watertight seal, and that's clipped in there nice and good. So now I can just store this in here, and I'll probably take some zip ties and zip tie that in really good. Now you should be able to see in there that I have them zip tied pretty well, and everything looks like it's out of the way pretty good in there. So I don't have them like cinched down super tight. I want there to be a little bit of play. So I'm going to probably clean the inside of this up a little bit before I put the cover back on. You can see it's kind of dusty, but I do live in the desert. So, all right. So this part's done. I'm going to move around to the inside, up on the hood. I'm going to work on this to make sure I got this in the right spacing. So you'll have to excuse my little face here, but it's just going to, that's where it's going to be. So as you see, I'm kind of pushing this extra cable down. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. It's nice and tight. And I'm going to probably wrap it with tape and secure it there. and then use wire. So I'll do that in a little bit. But I have the spacing on this right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put one piece of zip tie right here. Now, I do have to be mindful of my windshield. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pop on the windshield and see how I need to route it around the windshield. So everyone's setup is probably going to be a little bit different, but my windshield clamps on right here like that. So I want to be able to continue to put the windshield on and off. So I have two options. I can route it here and zip tie it above the window and then again below, or I can route it here like this and then put a zip tie here and a zip tie here. I'll probably do that because when I take off the window, that'll be out of the way all the time. So that's probably going to be how I route that one, just like that. So I'll come back to that in a little bit. Okay, so I have everything hooked up. I have all the wires routed. Basically, I still have this mess right here. I got to figure out what to do with this mess of wires. But everything is ready, I think, for me to turn the light on. One thing I didn't tell you guys about is I didn't tell you that I disconnected the battery while I was doing this install. That's probably pretty important for you to know. You definitely want to disconnect the battery when you do these types of installs, because I'm doing electrical. So I'm going to hook the battery back up and I'm going to see if the light works. All right, so wow, that's very bright. I don't know what that looks like on the camera, but that was full bright mode. And then here's a driving light. That's kind of a driving mode. So if you're just on the street, I think that's what that's for. And if you want full bright, that's what that's for. So everything seems to be good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire everything, or actually I'm just going to route all the wires and get everything cleaned up and put away, and then I'll show you what it looks like after I have all the wires routed and zip tied down. All right, now you can see what I've done. So I'm going to start up over here and tell you a couple things. So I still need to cover this. I think I'm going to wrap it with some waterproof tape. Although I am in the desert, so I don't really need waterproof, maybe something like electrical tape or something. And I also realized that my twisty ties, they're a little bit lacking. So this is basically how it's going to run down. I thought about the inside, it didn't work. So it's going to have to be this. And I'm going to buy some new zip ties because these ones aren't quite cutting it. So, and then on the inside, I'm really a little bit worried about this not being switched. I would just hate to be out in the desert somewhere and have my light bar get turned on, and when I turn off the key, have it stay on. So I'm going to deal with that. So because of that, right now they have a lot of extra cable here, so you can run this a long way. But I have it secured really good right here, so it's not going anywhere. And that's it. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till dark, and then we'll go out and I'll show you what it looks like at nighttime. All right, so here I am at nighttime, and I have a little dirt road just about a mile from my house that I drove to. And I'm going to test this light and see what it looks like. So right now I just have my standard lights on. Now these are my high beams. This is not the light bar. I'm going to go back to my standard light. Now I'm going to hit the high beam or the light bar and see what that looks like. Wow. All right, that is something else. Let me drive around a little bit and see what this looks like. All right, that really is lighting up everything in front of me. That's pretty incredible. I'm really actually quite happy with the performance of these. So I've got my high beams on, and I have my regular regular lights on the high beam, excuse me, and then I have the light bar turned on. So that is crazy bright. Very happy so far. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera off and set it out in front of me and see what that looks like from the front of the rig. All right, so this is just the standard lights. The next thing I'm going to turn on is the driving light. So that's the driving light. And then now I'm going to turn on the high beams. That's pretty incredible. So let me drive for a little bit and see what this looks like. Just driving along with the high beams. Very bright. All right, now we have the driving light and the high beams. Yeah, this is impressive. I don't do a lot of night driving, but maybe I will now. I like this a lot. It's pretty dusty, so I'm not sure how well the camera is going to pick stuff up, but hopefully it does a good job. Okay, so there you have it. Pretty impressed with this light bar for Kemimoto. I wasn't sure whether I was going to like it, but boy, I do. It really brightens everything up. It's almost a little too much when I'm on the street, but out in the woods or out in the desert, this thing was perfect. Let's shut her down to the driving light. You can see what a difference it makes. I mean, that's unbelievable. All right, my name is Pat Lowe, and this is Pilo's Adventures.